This is the second installment of 2, Getting Philosophical with Chris Katzmann. If you haven't already done so, please listen to Getting Philosophical with Chris Katzmann, Part 1. Don't put too much pressure on yourself because you got to have fun with it at the same time.
Actually, no, Andy, I'd appreciate it if you don't put it in the podcast, but...
Sometimes in life things can come across as rather odd or often peculiar, a little like the way that you decide to tune into other radio stations other than ours.
Wishful thinking, been dreaming, it's my time to shine. Wanting, waiting, been hoping for a girl like you to know. I wanna get the girls I couldn't get before. I wanna be in a band, make that music. I wanna be in a band, kick those grooves. I wanna be in a band, smoke those dudes. I wanna be in a band.
If you enjoyed that introduction song, head on over to iTunes and pick it up. That's I Wanna Be in a Band by Lovestruck Robot off their debut album, I Wanna Be in a Band. You can download the entire album there, as well as their new single, Smoke Show. For more information, please visit lovestruckrobot.com. Good morning, good afternoon, hip hip hooray. This is me, myself, and I. I'm your host, Anthony Hayes. If you are not already doing so, please follow me on Twitter at @ahayes_MMI. I am also on Instagram, @ahayes_MMI. And the newest addition to the Me, Myself, and I arsenal, Me, Myself, and I Radio on Facebook. And of course, when all else fails, head on over to the mothership, Me, Myself, and I Radio.com. Lots to talk about, less than half an hour to do it in. So let's get into Me, Myself, and I, shall we?
That's awesome. Yeah, man. Taking a step back, taking that moment to reflect, that moment of mindfulness. I know I did an interview with Bruce Langford the other day with mindfulness mode. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's fantastic. And just talking about that whole mindset of just being able to, for people in who are directors on projects like you, like Podium, and people in leadership, you have to have the ability to stop, reflect, and dissect a situation as it's unfolding. And that's something not a lot of people are able to do. And that's why leadership is such a difficult thing. And that's something that I'm realizing now because I'm in a position of leadership and really getting to know not only the me, myself, and I elements of myself, but that of others.
Yep.
Is that brother is a whole different world. You know what I mean? I think you do.
Absolutely. I mean, in positions of leadership, it's very easy to start thinking that, because you're the leader, like what you are thinking is what matters most. Which, maybe it does matter most, but let's say it's very easy to lose sight of the other pieces of the puzzle. One of the things, actually, this is taped on the back of my computer right now and hung up in my office, is this set, just a little quip: "Stay humble." And what that means to me is to realize that if you're a leader, you have to be making important decisions and you have to be confident in your decisions, but you have to not be arrogant. You need to recognize that someone who disagrees with you might actually be bringing a lot of value. And you need to be open to letting your ego go and seeing that. You need to, like I said, take a step back and see how everything is fitting together. You can't let friction between parts of your team or just differing ideas, different ways of thinking are ultimately good. You want to have teamwork on a team, and as a leader, you should promote that, but you should find a way to promote an atmosphere where everyone's thoughts and opinions can be different, but yet work together, if you get what I'm saying.
Oh, no, I do. Trust me.
Yeah, so I mean, you stay humble means like, you know, you're a small piece of the big puzzle, and like the big puzzle really is just the whole world. But that doesn't mean you're not important.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that I sometimes remind myself of, because I've had times where someone came to me with a great piece of feedback, and I'm just like, no, that's the opposite of what I've been trying to do this whole time. There's no way. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, now that I think about it from this perspective and think about it, you know, in this way of implementing it, it doesn't seem so at odds with my ideas.
It's a game changer.
Yeah.
Love it.
And this sort of, you know, this will come from these sort of, you know, I guess conflicting thoughts can come from that. Conflicting thoughts that will end up bringing value to what you're trying to do. They can come from really anywhere, and you should always be open to what others have to say, no matter what your gut reaction is immediately.
Absolutely. Now, let me ask you something. Have you given any thought to, you talked about launching a podcast. What is going to be the subject matter for that? Have you got that all figured out? We haven't got a chance to discuss that yet. I'd be interested to know what were your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I've got two totally different ideas about what to do here.
Okay.
One of them is a philosophy podcast. Where I sort of like review a work of philosophy that I've read and try to apply it to modern life. But also I would want to incorporate a little bit more of like a show, like, you know, variety atmosphere to that. You know, bringing guests on and speaking with them. Feasibility of that, we'll see. You know, I'm still trying to figure that out. But I also actually am a really big fantasy baseball guy.
Okay. There's definitely a niche for that.
Yeah, there's a niche for that, and I think that, you know, I actually am a bit of a nerd in that area, so I could totally do something with that as well. But really, like I kind of alluded to earlier, I just think that spoken audio is such a cool medium, and I want to be involved.
Oh, you're definitely doing that, man. You're doing that with Podium. You're doing that with the podcast that's going to be coming out. I definitely hope to have you on again in the future to promote that. And I can't wait for some big things coming from you, Chris. It's going to be very exciting.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm anxious, man.
I can hear it. I can hear it in your voice. I can hear the little mouse going upstairs, but that's a good thing. That is a very, very good thing.
I mean, it's definitely good motivation.
Very good thing.
Who knows what this is gonna end up being? But I will say that the ride is thrilling. You know, learning what I've learned so far with you know, creating something like this and being part of a project that ultimately, you know, the bulk of the responsibility just rests solely on me. It can be, I'll say that I struggle with wanting to see results, probably faster than I should expect them.
Sure.
But you know, that's where the anxiousness comes from.
Now, have you always had anxiety in your life, leading up to it today, or is it just when you're working on big projects, would you say?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't even call it anxiety. I shouldn't say anxious at this point. I think that I am a little bit impatient. Yeah, it's excitement. There's a little bit of anxiety in there, of course, but you know, just a little bit. Not an overwhelming amount where I'm, you know, it's actually hindering what I'm doing. But actually, yeah, no, I've definitely dealt with anxiety in the past, and I think learning how to deal with it and confront the sources of anxiety rather than sort of shut off and revert to some more immature ways of dealing with stuff was something that I really, once I learned that, I think I really opened a new door in my life, and it led to me feeling confident enough to go out and try and start, this independent project. I'm fortunate enough to have, probably about a year or so before my parents kicked me out of the house. I don't know. But, so I do have a little bit of leeway there.
Take advantage of that time.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. I'm looking at it, and I see my whole life in front of me, and I'm like, okay, like, this is the time that I have right here, this little chunk of time. I got to make something happen. And that's what I wake up and think about every single day of my life.
Well, be excited, set goals, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, because you got to have fun with it at the same time. Because if you lose the fun part of it, then you're going to lose the passion for it. And I think the passion is something that you have, and just hold on to that. Don't lose that, man. That'd be my advice.
Yeah, that's great advice. I try to catch myself and remind myself of that. And sometimes I need to remind myself to wind down a little bit. Mm-hmm. I'm not always perfect with that. I do get a little carried away sometimes.
We all do.
But yeah, I mean, that's part of the human experience, I guess.
My one of my ailments, or one of my remedies, actually, one of my remedies for that is a nice cup of tea. We went to the mall for my birthday, and I got a whole loose leaf tea set up with all these just awesome. I know, being a philosophy guy, you could appreciate this. The existence of tea is dated back thousands of years, and they used it in so many different cultures and religions, especially in the Eastern world.
Yeah. And
with the oolong teas and the green leaf, and there's just so many, and I've got 6 different huge containers, and I just had a cup before I got in here with you, because I knew that this conversation was going to go places that I needed to be collective and involved and engaged in the conversation, because I knew you were going to bring some heavy stuff to the table, and I appreciate that. So I wanted to prepare myself, so I did that with a nice cup of tea. So if it helps you, if it helps me, it may help you. So I suggest that.
I actually drink tea every day. I drink tea every single day, yeah.
Awesome.
I do.
I'm glad to hear that.
It's invigorating, and it's also calming.
It is. And I couldn't believe so many different kinds.
Oh, yeah. I just drink, pretty typical unsweetened iced tea. Mm-hmm. And if I can't get that, I actually have a bottle of tea extract that, it's not like drinking tea. It's not quite as calming, but it does help me feel healthier.
Cool. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. I love it, man. I love tea. It's very healthy, very good for the mind.
Cool. Oh, man, we touched on so many great things today. I can't wait to go back and edit this.
Yeah.
So tell me something. How can people get a hold of you?
You can email me, actually, chris@podiumapp.me. You can find me on Facebook. Chris Katzmann, or Christopher W. Katzmann, actually, is what my Facebook is. Twitter @CW Katzmann. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the best way to get in touch with me.
Very cool. Yeah, I'll include links in all the show notes. Awesome.
What was that?
I'll include links to all that in all the show notes in case anybody has, questions or they want to get involved in the app or get more information on the app.
Yeah, and actually the website, www.podiumapp.me.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Podiumapp.me. Cool.
Yep.
Definitely will include that.
All right, so the first version of Podium, first public version, is now available on the App Store. If you're an iOS user, you can go and download it right now, just like any other app. It's published. It's ready to rock. And it's also the first version of several more to come. So we have right now you'll be able to get on there, record some stuff just on the fly. It's a great way for if you're a podcaster and you want to reach out to your fans real quick. They can hear your voice. You can spread your brand. Your voice is your brand as a podcaster, pretty much.
Absolutely.
So basically, it'll record relatively high quality audio, a lot of higher quality than you would think, and put it out there onto social media. It is a social network itself, but the big draw for it is that it links to your Facebook and Twitter.
Yep.
And when you publish a post, you can select to publish it to Facebook and Twitter, and your recording will then play on the web on its own web page.
Right, it's got its own little widget.
It's actually it'll open it when you click on it. It'll open a new tab, and the player will be its own page right there. Although we are working on a widget to go within Twitter. Yes,
cool.
That's part of our next version. Another part of the next version is editing features. Eventually, we want to turn this thing into basically the free version. Is what you have, what's out there right now. It'll be enhanced a little bit more.
Oh, so this is free to download.
Yeah, that's right. Podium.
Wow. So there's really no
version is
reason
completely
that
free.
Anybody should not go download this right now.
And you can host your audio through us. You can actually give us the URL of something that you have on Dropbox or Google Drive or whatever, and we will actually take the audio. The system will automatically download that and then host it for you on Podium.
Oh, wow.
And then you can, that's actually kind of a unique little feature that we got going there. And I think it's a great way for people who want to be able to sort of spread their content that's pre-recorded, pre-produced, like this podcast will be, or any
Very cool.
podcast. You can spread that on social media as well. And I mean, really, we just want it to be a simple and quick, easy to use platform for sharing audio, especially, podcasts, because obviously a microphone is basically what Podium is as it's at its core.
Mm-hmm.
Microphone that shares sound to the world.
Very cool.
And
so anybody looking to get into podcasting, they're not sure, they want to experiment with it, this is the app they want.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's, first of all, totally free. You don't have to go spend hundreds of dollars on, microphone, download software to your computer, whatever. Totally free. And you're absolutely right. It's a great way to get into spoken word audio. And, musicians, you want to get a sample of your singing out there too, anybody, really. But, obviously, like I said, very conducive to the podcasting community. And
Awesome.
what we actually want to do is get a lot more people involved in podcasts. Some of the social media influencers, out there. This is a social media app, and you'll be able to increase your influence on social media by using spoken word audio as a medium. Mm-hmm. And the podcast community is growing, and
Yeah. Yes.
I mean,
it is.
look at me. I'm a relatively new player in the podcast community, and I think that there's plenty of more people who are interested, and just from all the hype that it's been generating over the past couple of years. We're hoping that people who are thinking about getting into podcasting, any segment of that new growth of the community, mm-hmm. especially is who we see being best use for Podium. Although established podcasters as well. I mean, think of how useful it is if you have a following, and like I said, if you want to get your brand out there, you want to connect with them more, maybe grow an already established following. Just interact with people on social media with your voice.
Yeah, just have like a quick update. Maybe, if you record your podcast weekly and you had something you needed to say, you could just pop Podium out, bam, record what you had on your mind, and you throw it out there for everybody to listen to. So I have one question. How long did it take to develop Podium?
Oh, man. Well, this project actually originally was conceived in May of 2014.
Okay.
and it's gone through a couple of iterations before it became Podium. We originally had called it Spokel, and
Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
I was trying to be a little bit trendy there, but that brand, we actually did not end up marketing it. I wasn't satisfied with the product that we put out, so we basically scrapped the interface and branding and restarted with a new user interface, new branding.
Yeah.
And that was actually about a year ago that this happened. So it's been a whole year. A lot of design work, a lot of engineering went into it, especially on the back end side to be able to move all this data around.
Sure, I bet. And how many people are on your team?
Right now, there's 4 people.
Okay.
A couple of them part-time, and then myself and our head coder are full-time.
Very cool. So what are your plans for the future with Podium?
We basically want to take the experience of recording a podcast and take you from the actual microphone recording through the process of cutting it, editing it, uploading it, hosting it, and then sharing it as well. Basically, we want it to be a sort of a one-stop shop for publishing spoken word audio. I know right now, the status quo, I guess, is you buy your microphone, you download Audacity or one of the other programs. You maybe use GarageBand, and then you get your hosting, and you record and you edit, you upload onto the hosting, and then you take the link that you have hosted somewhere, and you share it. You put it on iTunes, you share that link. What we want to do is take that whole process and bring it inside of one system.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. I dig it. So where can people find out more information, and how can they get the app?
Well, right now, like I said, we are on the App Store, first version. This is what we're kind of calling our MVP, minimum viable product. It's, I know you've been along for the ride as we beta tested it and saw how it's evolved.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Leaps and bounds. We had so much fun on there. A lot of the guys with just, some funny updates and snippets and talking about all sorts of subjects. So it's definitely a cool platform, and I can attest to that personally.
Well, hey, thanks. That's great to hear. I really mean that. I run on compliments and about Podium like that. When people really feel that it's a cool platform, that's what I'm doing. So
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
what I'm here to do. But anyway, where can you get it? On the App Store now, and you can learn more at our website. That is www.podiumapp.me.
Okay. And we'll have links to all that and more in the show notes, of course.
And well, you can also get in touch with me personally or any of our social media accounts. You should be able to find them: Facebook, Twitter. Twitter is actually a good way to get in touch. If anyone's
And what's your
interested.
Twitter handle on for Podium?
At Podium for iOS.
At Podium for iOS.
Although that may change because we do have plans for Android as well. But for now, at Podium for iOS.
Okay, very cool. So let's get some followers on Twitter, guys.
Yep, check it out. That's where you can get the information.
Very cool.
Honestly, if you want more information, talking to me personally is, I'm more than happy to do that. This is what this is my lifeblood right here. So
Cool. Absolutely.
If anyone's interested in learning more about Podium, please go ahead and reach out.
There you go, guys. You got all the information. If you want to get in touch with Chris, Chris, what's your email? Maybe there's some podcasters listening. They would, I'm sure, love to have you on their show to talk about the app and to talk about you, because you're always an interesting guy, and I enjoyed talking to you on this episode of Me, Myself, and I Radio. So what's the best email for you? Maybe we can send some people your way.
That would be chris@podiumapp.me. Shoot me an
right.
email, guys.
Yes.
Good idea, Anthony.
Let's get it going, guys, and let's get Podium in everybody's hands. Now, do you have anything to assist? Is there any funding? Do you have like a Patreon page or something that we can direct people towards?
Oh, actually, crowdfunding? No,
Anything
we haven't.
like that?
I have not done that.
And Patreon might be something you want to look into. It's not so crowdfunding based as it is creator based, and what it does is I actually just recently launched mine. I don't even think I've talked about it on the show, so this would probably be a good opportunity to do that. If you head over to memyselfandiradio.com and go to the support page, there's a link there. And Patreon basically is a platform for creators.
Oh, wow.
To continue creating, making art, whether it be through social media, things like, podcasting. If you have a blog, anything that you're creating that requires and is visionary, where you think people will find value and want to, contribute to that, Patreon is the avenue you would go towards. So I would definitely.
So I'm actually looking at this, and I'm
look into it. It's pretty interesting, and I've just recently launched mine, so I obviously don't have any contributors yet. But anybody who's listening, if you would like to hear some more exciting content going forward in the future, I can continue doing that with your help and support at Patreon. So I'd appreciate it.
All right.
What a lot of people don't know is there are little costs involved, and in some cases great costs involved when you're doing these creative outlets and you're creating these things, let alone the time. But there are little startup things you have to get. You may need a microphone to do an interview. You may need some piece of software or something that you may not have. You have to purchase. So if you have these avenues to support you, if your listeners feel within themselves that you provide enough value to them that they can pay it back to you, that would definitely be the avenue would you want to pursue with that. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's exactly it. I think it's not even just a matter of the cost that you as the creator incur, but the value that you're giving to people who listen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, the way that the world works is, everyone needs to get paid.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely.
And, it's people deserve to get paid as well. If someone has really helped you out and, let's say if Anthony has said something that, made you think, I could really benefit from taking that and making it a part of my life. Throw him a couple bucks.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to get off your chest today? I'd definitely love to have you on the show again anytime. I'm always willing to have creative minds contribute to getting to know the me, myself, and I elements. So I appreciate you doing that with me here today, Chris.
Yeah, dude. I had a really good time chatting with you here. I'm already thinking about different stuff we can talk about next time. So
cool. Dude,
we'll figure something out.
I'm sure we'll figure something. Shoot me an email, message me on Facebook, get a hold of me any way you can, and we can definitely make that happen. I think people will enjoy it very much.
Yeah, sounds good to me, man. Thanks for having me on.
Cool. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too, Anthony. Thank you.
All right, man. Good luck.
Whether you're listening on Spreaker, iTunes, or Stitcher, your input and feedback and rating the show would be greatly appreciated. If you have any other things you want to discuss, comments, questions, concerns, please email me at ahayes@memyselfandiradio.com. Thanks a lot. As always, at the end of every show, we'd like to urge you, no matter what the rest of your day brings, control the controllable. As for the rest, keep on flowing and just be. This has been Me, Myself, and I. Thanks for tuning in.
Tell me what to do.